No, it is an actual question.
Okay, I mean, I clicked start recording, but they're not
I
going to have
saw.
the base. Okay.
So my question is this. You know the concept of just being out in the world, in theory, not saying in practice, because we're talking about, you and me, but in theory,
I don't.
being out in the world, cultivating like your friendships, right? Like that whole concept, going out, spending time with the home. In theory, what is kind of the opposite of that?
I would
like cultivating your Foeships, not like people who are directly your enemies. It is more so tied to the group of people that like the kind of thing that's like, I don't even know your name. I don't think about you, like that sort of stuff, right? Like, what is the concept of that?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you
What is
have
the
it.
name of that?
Well, like, what group of people are you talking about? Like, because I think the word you're looking for is like antagonizing.
Yeah, but it's not actively antagonistic. The group of people that I'm talking about, and I think you will be like, oh, I should have known that, is just some of the cast of characters that you might find at any LGS.
When you say cultivating, though, because I think like this is what sort of defines the answer to your question. Cultivating in an active manner, or in a manner that involves like you ruminating upon them, or in a manner that involves confrontation, or in a manner that involves taking action that like tangentially would negatively impact these people.
So when you're hanging out with the homies and it ends, you're like, oh, that was fun. I had a good time. I like these people. But I don't think you ever woke up and was like, today I'm really going to bond with my best friend, Josh Cho.
Sure.
Like, I think it is just something that occurs. It is not necessarily a conscious thought. And so you go into an LGS, say you play a little Magic the Gathering tournament.
Okay.
Which I may have done this weekend, which may have prompted this question.
Unlucky.
And it's like, I'm not really out here cultivating friendships.
No.
So what am I doing? Because I'm definitely experiencing relationships with other human beings.
I mean, honestly, it kind of just sounds like you are meeting people and then disliking them. Like that seems to be the experience you're describing.
Incredibly neutral.
Okay, I don't really know how to tell you this because you're a Magic pro with a name attached to yourself and a group of friends that like you probably don't experience this, but I like going to tournaments is very often like that for people that are not you. I think.
I know. That's why I ask, because this should be a concept. This should be a thing, right? I'm not saying, look, oh, this is unique to my life experience. And for the most part, we're not even talking about me. We're talking about the homies that I was hanging out with, where they're mostly speaking to this. And being a person who has a name, I often find that people are on their best behavior around me and are oftentimes way nicer to me than they would, given that, cishet white dude or whatever, winning a decent amount, especially at a local level, right? Like all of these things are things that may lead to people like treating you with a little bit more respect, but like people are not ever outwardly just like dickish to me for no reason. If anything, it is the opposite. I will go out of my way to not be a dick to this guy.
What I'm hearing is that
everyone's super nice to me all the time.
What I'm hearing is that they shouldn't be, Like what I'm hearing is that more people should see you walk in and just start throwing tomatoes at you. And then you could cultivate that faux ship, Like when you walk in the door, it's the reverse of Norm from Cheers. They just start throwing stuff at you, just batteries.
Yeah.
Just like batteries.
Smash the bottle on the bar, throw the bottle at me.
Yeah.
Give
them the real Philadelphia experience,
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No,
I
for
feel
real,
like you need that in your life.
all I want, Cam,
Mm.
and I'm being serious here, and this has to do with a lot of like my anxiety issues and whatnot too, is I just want people to treat me like a human being. Just
Yeah, so
be normal.
batteries. D batteries. Get like a
Be
sock full
normal.
of D batteries and hit Gerry over the head with it.
Maybe that's how they do it in LGSs in Philly. I don't know. I got some homies there. I can call them up. But
No, but
if
when you
hey,
get there,
if that's
they're like,
normal,
no.
if
When
that's
you
normal,
get
who might
there,
argue?
when you get there, they're all just like hiding their socks full of D batteries clumsily behind their backs. Like they're like, we can't let Gerry know about the socks full of D
Yeah.
batteries.
Like one arm, yo man, bring it in. Like give me a hug. Other one ready to just like crack me on the back of the head.
Yes, just like a child who's been caught stealing from the cookie jar, except it's just D batteries, tomatoes, other vehicles of thrown physical abuse.
Just walk in the room.
You're
Damn.
right that there's no
Philly
word for
smells
that.
like lithium.
There's
I
no
know,
word
it's
for
weird.
that. You're right. There's no word for cultivating unpleasant interpersonal relationships. There's no like I just assume because like to me like that's going to any LGS for me. No one I first of all I haven't gone since I've been the person that I am, but even like I doubt that would matter for what it's worth. I doubt I'd get recognized in public. I doubt I'd get any deference. I would really hope I wouldn't. But the process of like existing in a space with people who are neutral to disliking your existence and then trying to enjoy the time spent because of a shared hobby rather than shared interests or values, I feel like that's like I don't want to put too fine a point on it. I think they call it having a job. Like that's the
Yeah.
experience of like
No, that's it. It's like you know, I'm surrounded by my acquaintances. I'm gonna hang out with my acquaintances today. And it's like I think the normal definition of that is like acquaintance positive or whatever, but basically everyone that I was in the room with, I think there were 5 of us, were just like, oh no, I only use the word acquaintance like derogatorily. And it's like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, like it's work friends, right? Like that's the sort of concept you're speaking to is like someone who circumstances brought you together, but these are not the people that if you had the pick, you would be spending your time with. They're the people that are there via circumstance.
Yeah. So anyone asked me, you know, how was my weekend? What did I do? I was cultivating my Foeships.
Yeah, I mean, I like cultivating my Foeships as a sort of general phrase for this, but I do feel like that would imply some more active work on your part.
It does. It does. There needs to be a better word for it.
Yeah. Or you need to get more active and like start showing up in like a Seto Kaiba style trench coat and calling everyone else bad at the game, and then you would actually be cultivating that relationship in that way.
I would. Uh but then I would have to like care. And I don't.
Right, that is probably true.
Care about like the relationship, I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The line between love and hate is actually pretty thin, which is a long way of saying, you know, hit up AO3 and read your Yugi Kaiba fix, because as everyone knows, that is a very thin line. This is the KMBest podcast. We just talked about cultivating Foeships for 8 minutes before talking about Marvel Snap at all. Thanos is currently, speaking of an expert in cultivating Foeships, this is actually a guy who would probably know the right word for this. Like, that is... yeah.
I just rewatched Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of those things where it's like 4 a.m., not really tired, nothing to watch, just need some background noise, right? Throw on Endgame. Haven't seen it in, I don't know, probably since it came out. And there is a line in there where Thanos to Tony Stark is just like, you know, something about like how they're enemies, but he's just like, I still respect you, you know, and then kills him or whatever.
I mean, but that again, like, I feel like there's like a level of
Thanos
caring
cares.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanos
no,
cares
no,
about
he's cultivating.
Tony. He cares about Tony. Like, he likes Tony. He likes, like, Peter Quill because at least he pulled the trigger, right? But what he
Yeah.
doesn't care about is, like, literally anybody else. Like, the reason Tony was, like, the sort of matched pair with him is because they're both these sort of utilitarian thinkers who think purely in terms of, like, net good without considering individual people, right? And so that is sort of like, that's why he respects Tony. He's like, I think you see the same way I do. I just have a grander vision, a grander scale. But, like, I don't think he thinks about Hawkeye at all.
No, no shot.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, and then, you know, Scarlet Witch shows up and is just like, you know, you took everything from me, and he's just like, I don't even know who you are.
I don't even know who you are. And
that's me at the LGS.
In fairness, that is because he literally didn't. That was the Thanos from the past. That Thanos had not actually taken everything from her, so it is kind of weird to just be approached by a lady you literally don't know. Like, you gotta give him that one.
It is him. It would have been him, right? Assuming they didn't interfere.
Sure, but
or whatever.
It wasn't an experience he had. Unlike the experience he's currently having in Marvel Snap as just dominating the metagame. Absolutely.
The GOAT.
The guy. The GOAT. And I think it's probably time to talk about the million different Thanos buffs and which one finally did it. And my pick for which one finally did it is, I mean, it's the combination of starting an opening hand and being 12 power. Because, yeah, one of the things you'll notice playing that deck is that 12 power is like the biggest guy you have. Thanos is the biggest guy you have. He's the biggest way to contest those lanes. And being 12 power matters a lot, but having additional power on the guy you are guaranteed to have is just a very sneaky, great thing for a deck like this to have. There are more guaranteed pieces of power in a Thanos deck than in any other deck in the game between Sam Wilson and Thanos. You just start every game a little bit ahead, and that's really cool.
So, the thing going on with Thanos, I think, that is pretty huge is especially in the ongoing ones, right? Because you want to keep the stones around. You're not trying to do like weirdo Killmonger, Deathstrike stuff or whatever.
Or Strange Supreme.
And sure. Yeah. You want to just give the one-liner for that? Don't.
In your don't do it in the ongoing deck. Yeah, like that. Don't put the card that makes your Dazzler, your Ant-Man, your Captain America, your Spectrum, your Mockingbird, and your Blue Marvel worse. Don't put it in your ongoing deck. It's a completely different deck that is still Thanos that Strange Supreme wants to be in. But
he's a greedy bastard, you know?
Yeah, he does not play well with others. And ongoing, weirdly, is the deck that is about playing well with others the most.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you have the shield, you have some stones. Ideal games typically involve stuff like Mind Stone, having ways to spend all of your energy every turn, building a full board. And that means that oftentimes you have these slots in locations where you have like a 1-power thing, and then you're like, I have to contest this location somehow, right? So it's like Mockingbird plus something else is like a pretty common one, right? And that can lose to a lot of things, but the thing about the 12-power Thanos is like that's the tiebreaker, right? Like that is the thing that like notches a bunch of other things, right? So yeah, the 12 power I think is super meaningful because oftentimes Thanos with a tiny bit of help is often just good enough to lock up a location. And a lot of times you're also, you know, making them come down on 5 with the Time Stone, which frees up you 2 Spectrum on 6 and whatnot. So there are a lot of things going on that are very powerful, but I think if you did not want to remove the start in hand clause, I would probably next look at just reducing his power, maybe with some other nerf, right? But like, I think that is the big one.
I really am struck by the power thing because to me, the 2 most important stones, Time Stone to get him down earlier, he guaranteed starts in your hand, a 5/12 is great, and Soul Stone to prevent Shang-Chi from dealing with him. And it's like, yes, Mind Stone is still better, but it's better because it's a stone, right? Like, it's the stone that gets you the other stone. It's 2 stones. It's not really fair to make the comparison. Those are the stones whose actual effects you care about the most, is green and orange. And they are very, 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 very damn good. Just being able to play your 5-drop that is 10 plus power and have people be afraid to contest it because it might go to 20 plus power, or be unable to Shang-Chi it because of the Soul Stone. A ton of stuff that just lets this card be extremely good right now. On Untapped in top 10%, Thanos the card. And to be clear, for most cards, I'm not sure I exactly trust win rate, but because Thanos starts in the opening hand,
every game,
yes, you can like actually look at it and be like, this is a genuinely meaningful thing. 55% win rate in top 10% on Untapped. Thanos. And that just the card Thanos, not like the deck Thanos or whatever, the card Thanos, which I guess does encompass every Thanos deck because of that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
This is a card that is among the best cards in the game, if not the best card in the game. The most dominant archetype in the game right now, even though it is split between two decks, the Strange Supreme tech-focused one, and the ongoing big number kind of white weenie style Thanos.
So it's worth noting that has been number one for multiple weeks now, and that is kind of a rarity in this game.
The metagame has been, I won't say static, right? But I say for probably like 3 weeks, it's been, since Goliath came out, I've had ongoing Thanos in my top 4 basically every week. And then you have ongoing Thanos, you have whatever Scream deck doing whatever things it needs to adapt to Thanos. Now you have the other Thanos deck, you have Clog running around, and typically there's like some fourth deck, usually an Ajax deck. So Thanos, Clog, Scream, Ajax have been top 4, top 5, I think, for ballparking it the last 3 weeks since Goliath's release, give or take.
An interesting thing about these decks, you noted that, Scream does whatever it needs to adapt, right?
Yeah.
And what it is doing now is Darkhawk, which is a guy that is larger than Thanos. The Clog deck that you highlighted has Gore, which is a guy that is very likely bigger than Thanos.
Yep.
Weird.
Yep. Like it's pretty straightforward where it's just like Thanos is currently big enough that he invalidates some of the small guys. So if you're playing a small guys deck, you want a guy that is bigger. But there's also this other thing where it's like, if you're playing against Thanos, Gore is like this completely disgusting hammer. Like, he's just like this absolute monstrosity of a card against a deck with that many on reveals. And so, like, even like what's interesting about Gore, though, I think, is that sometimes you'll play against an ongoing Thanos deck and they just like won't draw any stones and they'll just play a bunch of ongoing cards and Gore will be like 2 power and you'll be like, I miss Red Hulk. Like, I miss my guy. But yeah, like this is definitely, I think Thanos is not only like 1A, but I would argue that in this metagame, Thanos is both 1A and 1B in the sense of the 2 different builds.
Yeah, it's weird to me because I think the ongoing one is maybe slightly stronger, certainly stronger in a vacuum. But the other one has more room to adapt, certainly, which is definitely a strength. But it is weird when, I don't know, we talked about like ongoing stuff and like pushing that as a mechanic and like a typal thing and a thing that should be worth building around.
Yeah.
Especially because there are so many hate cards and the cards are all face up. They're all there just chilling. And in theory, it should be pretty easy to hate out. But now we have enough like Goliath and Captain America and even like Ant-Man-y type stuff where you can actually just put a bunch of power in a bunch of locations. It's not like, oh, I was leaning on, I don't know, copying my Mr. Fantastic or whatever. Like that was my big source of power, right? Like now you get to diversify. And I think that is massive for this archetype. And now it's like, oh, do we need Enchantress to be Luke Cage and just hit every location or whatever? Like, is that where we are? Did we go too far, KM?
I don't think we have gone too far in any way. Like, honestly, I think that what this is demonstrating to me is that if anything is the problem here, it's Thanos and not any of the ongoing stuff, because when you look at like the actual ongoing decks, there's this thing that keeps coming up is like someone will ask me if something is okay to nerf or buff, right? Like someone was like, would 3/0 Devil Dinosaur be okay now? And it's like, I think that'd be a pretty strong card. But I think it'd be like borderline printable. Like it's like the kind of thing where it's like I think you could probably get away with it now that like the collection size is bigger than it used to be. And you know, it's not a great thing to do, but I think you could probably at least give it a shot and see what happens. It wouldn't be wildly out of whack, right? It'd be too strong, but like not by the amount that it used to be. And then someone was like, yeah, but Thanos exists. And I was like, oh, wait, yeah, it would be way too strong. It's one of these things where it's like, if you made it so people had to play them in a fair deck, a lot of things would be okay.
Yeah, but Thanos, whenever it is around, it Arsham too to some degree. It just seems like a lot of cards are normally evaluated in through the lens of a normal game of Marvel Snap. Mm-hmm. And then someone brings up like, oh, that's just like cracked in Thanos though. It's like, ah, shit, yeah.
The thing I think that is the strongest about like Thanos RSM type stuff is they are diversification engines with inherent ability to provide velocity, right? So when they are good, they lend themselves to pile of good cards type stuff. Like that's what they lend themselves to. The ongoing package is now finally good enough that you can describe it as a pile of good cards. It basically never has been before this month, but Goliath did a lot for it. Like that really, like people talk about like, oh, Strange Supreme is definitely the best card of the month. I kind of think it might be Goliath. Like, I think Strange Supreme is probably a little better as like a standalone guy, because obviously Goliath cannot be a standalone guy. Strange Supreme's numbers are bigger and all of that, but I think Goliath is just an amazing card.
Absolutely. I mean, it's 210 or whatever, you know? It is
big as hell.
Routinely outpacing stuff like Old Angela, and it doesn't require even sort of like the minor setup that Angela required, right? It's just like, play this. It just sits there, you know? Like, obviously, there's an opportunity cost. You have to play a bunch of other ongoing things, but whatever. You just play them, and people are just like, can't mess with that location. You're like, all right, well, I'll put Thanos in this other location. They're just like, I'm dead. I lose.
Yep. There's a thing that comes to mind when I think about these decks that I think people should probably think more about, and it's the inherent, like, limited board space nature of these decks, because Thanos has this combination of cheap guys and card velocity that allows it to become one of the few Marvel Snap decks that is like reasonably at risk of clogging itself on its better draws. And I realize that this is like sort of rudimentary stuff for a card game player, but I do think it's worth mentioning that you probably shouldn't just be playing every stone all the time. You need to be thinking in terms of, how do I get enough power in these locations moving forward? What sacrifices am I making, committing a third dude to this Iron Patriot lane right now, knowing that the biggest possible thing I can put there is a Thanos at 12 in that fourth spot, right? Like, what sacrifices am I making by using my board space this way? And I think one of the things that people find so fun about Thanos is that he engages with all the aspects of Marvel Snap. Like, yes, it's points, but also he is pushing the boundaries of drawing cards. He is pushing the boundaries of navigating board space, but specifically the board space of an individual location. He has the ability to change locations. He has the ability to make sure that you can get around locations and make them one-sided with Space Stone and Soul Stone and things like that. And I think what people enjoy about Thanos is that he is sort of giving you the full range of the Marvel Snap experience. And that does make me loath to suggest a nerf.
Yeah, the thing that you left out that is not necessarily a huge part of the experience, but one that is very novel and I enjoy. So, I don't know how much poker you've played or how much you know about it or whatever, or whether you've ever heard me say this or not. But I dealt poker for a bunch of years. I played to pay my rent for a couple of years too. I don't ever want to like make my hand on the river or whatever. All I want to do ever is turn a flush draw.
And so what you're saying is that Thanos has the combo element here as well with all the stones?
All the stones, but specifically Reality Stone.
Ah.
In terms of interacting with all the things that Marvel Snap has to offer.
Yes.
Flipping coins and please, dear God, borrow with no name. Borrow with no name. You know, that's me needing that. That's my only out. And I have the Reality Stone in my hand. That's turning a flush draw. I don't care what happens at the end because in that moment, I felt something. I was alive.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, like, that makes sense, right? And I that's my thesis for why Thanos should not be nerfed. Is it makes you feel almost everything a Marvel Snap deck can make you feel. And it's probably good when a card that makes you feel that way is good. I think that is good for the game. It's also, it's Thanos. He's the iconic guy. He's like the guy, right?
He is the villain.
Post MCU, absolutely, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Where do you want it to fall, though? Like, do you want it to be like a tier 1 thing because of all that stuff? Or should it be like 1.5 or tier 2? Like, I think it is maybe a better experience if it is slightly below tier 1 so that it, in its novelty, is not the only thing that you see or are expected to play with, because then that just ruins the novelty. It gets old.
I wanted to talk a little bit about specifically Sam and Scream in the OTA, because those were changes that I feel like Marvel Snap players crave novelty in a really notable way, and those are changes that are almost guaranteed to keep those cards at least pretty reasonably strong. And I think that there is something to be discussed in terms of like how much worse are these cards actually getting? What are the meaningful differences that you're feeling? I can tell you from playing Sam Wilson, he has a million different synergies, so this isn't as meaningful as it might sound. He now no longer goes in every deck. You have to have a reason for playing him. So like I did have him in like the Thena deck. He is a 2/2 now. It is a lot less justifiable to try to play him. And so he's no longer in the Thena deck, but like he's still in Thanos, he's still in Scream, he's still in every ongoing deck. He has so many synergies with so many things that he might just be in a bunch of decks, not by virtue of being busted, but by virtue of working with so many different things. Is that an okay thing for a card to be? Is it okay if a card is the 4th best card in like 3 different decks, and those 3 decks are like 40% of the metagame? Is that acceptable as long as he is not overwhelmingly powerful while doing so?
I think so, especially if specifically the other universe that we could live in is those same numbers, but just more. Like he's more than top 4. He's like top 1 or 2. Instead of in 40%, he's in 60% or what. It's like, well, yeah, that universe is better than the alternative, of course. But Sam is so weird because does have all these synergies, and I feel like this had to have been meaningful to some degree, where it's like you start with an ongoing card in play. He himself has ongoing. Ends up where there are a lot of cards that get released that have ongoing feed into it. It feels like he was kind of the alley-oop for all this stuff, right? Like he was the thing that kind of like set all this stuff up to succeed. And say that stuff did not follow. He did not have all of these hooks, all of these synergies, and he released at 2/2. I think people are just like, oh, this card's incredibly mid. Like it's fine, it's good, like we can play it. Like here are these like tiny synergies, micro synergies. It's fine, but like because of sort of the doomerish mentality of I don't know, people online in general, it's just like, well, if it's not the nut high, it's probably the nut low, right? And now we live in a world where he has those synergies and he gets a slight ding. And I think everyone's just like, yeah, you deserved it. He had it coming. And also, card's more than fine. It's still pretty good. It's just, you knock a power off him. I'm playing them in mostly the same spots, and just everyone's pretty happy about it.
I had a conversation with someone recently wherein I was talking about how there was an imbalance between how good Sam was and how strong he was, or no, sorry, how good Sam was and how much people complained about him. And what I was
Yeah, for
getting
sure.
at was that people complained about him less than how good he is. Right? That's what I was getting at.
Which is bizarre.
What they were getting at was, I don't care how good he is, I hate his shield sound effects. Which is, I, I had no idea that this was a constituency. You learn something new every day. That, like, this is a constituency of people that are just like, this guy, why does he take so many actions? Stop taking actions, opponent. I had no idea.
When I started playing Snap, I had the sound effects on, and it was very novel and good. And I honestly think that if I started just playing with the sound, I would enjoy it probably. But I've just so gotten used to, like, this is on mute, maybe I'm listening to music, maybe I have something else on the screen or whatever. And so I don't really play with the sound anymore. I don't know that I've ever heard the shield noise. I assume it's like a whoosh of it moving.
Yeah.
Maybe like some metal sound of
That's
like
exactly
the shield
it.
getting thrown around and hitting stuff.
It goes like, bring, goes like that.
Yeah. And it's, people don't like it just so that it's repetitive, like, because you move it every turn.
I think it might be the repetition. I didn't dive down into it. It was just crazy. It was just crazy that, like, the sentence was interpreted the exact opposite way of what I meant. And they're very vociferous about, like, I hate this. I hate this guy. Stop doing this. Like, stop moving every turn, dude. It's annoying.
There is a person who exists who I'm not going to name.
Okay.
And I don't think plays Snap, but in theory could listen to this and how I'm about to describe him and will never know it's him. But there is a person who I want to hate so badly and just can't. It would be like incredibly nitpicky for me to try. No, it's not you, dude.
I'm very lovable.
I would probably not be willing to do a podcast with this person if it narrows it down. Clearly,
Well, I mean, that actually does kind of narrow it down because you're clearly willing to do a podcast with everybody. Like,
yeah. So there's a person I want to pick out all his flaws or whatever, and like whenever I meet someone who knows this person, I'm just like, yo, what's the deal with that person? They suck, and they're just like, nah, just like really good person. I'm just like, damn it, every time, you know. And I feel like that's kind of what Sam, like, you're scraping the bottom of barrel with the whooshing or whatever, and just be like, it's annoying. It's like, no, man, car's just fun. Shut up. It's okay.
I just, like, I really appreciated that because, like, I think they're valid, you know? I think that's a valid critique.
No,
it is.
It is, because it's like, it's repetitive, and I mean, I guess it is unique to Marvel Snap in that way, right? Like, there's a thing where it's like, it enters, it does its thing once, and then you don't hear it again. And there isn't a whole lot of like focus testing for like, what if we just play this noise every turn?
Yeah, like,
you know,
like that
would it drive people nuts? What if it was the most played card in the game, and just every turn of every game now, maybe twice because maybe both players have it, we're just whooshing and whatever, you know?
I will say, I think it is the most reasonable, and, like, if you were to make an argument that Sam Wilson should be changed in some way, I think this is, like, the best possible one. Like, when I look at this, I'm like, you know what? That is probably the most valid reason for hating a card that I've ever heard.
It would need to be as inoffensive as possible. It would need to have like ASMR equivalent sounds. But the thing with this complaint, and why I do feel like it is scraping the bottom of the barrel, is you could just turn the sound off. You're doing it to yourself.
That option. This conversation did make me real. I got a question for you. Is it psychotic that I play Snap on mute and then also have my computer on mute almost always, such that when I play Snap, the only sound in my actual room is the sound of fans. My computer fans on the highest possible setting. No music, no audio, just fans. That is the only thing that's happening. Is that crazy?
This came up today. Something sort of related. Buddy of mine got called out for when he drives, and he drives a lot. Nothing's playing. No music. Nothing. Just I think the thing that really makes it so people are taken aback by that is they think about how they would feel if they were alone with their thoughts for like, let's say 3 hours when you're driving to an RCQ or whatever. And people are just like, I hate that. Hate the idea of that. That'd be bad. Right. But I got like, this person doesn't hate himself. So I got to imagine like it's pretty okay in there. You know?
I don't know, man. How okay with yourself can you be if you're driving 3 hours to an RCQ? You know?
He loves it. For the record, this is a person I can name. This is not the other person, although kind of weirdly similar. I could try and nitpick this person and it just wouldn't work. This is Pro Tour champion Jake Beardsley. So he just likes Magic, likes hanging out with his friends.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like self-hating behavior to me.
No, he just wants the game. He just has fun. Dude, there was a Star Wars, effectively like Grand Prix kind of regionals thing called Sector Qualifier that was in Richmond this weekend. Him and a bunch of his homies were going to the Star Wars thing. They played in that. One of them made day 2, but then just like dropped because record was kind of bad. And like they all want to go play Magic. Like they all really want to play Star Wars. They all really want to play Magic. They did it. All just having fun, having a good time.
I feel like no music or podcasts or whatever in the car is way crazier than when you're receiving active stimulation of playing a video game. Does that make any sense?
Yes, you're not necessarily like trapped in your thoughts in that moment, right? But yeah, that to me is the most terrifying aspect of it. Is like I'm just sitting here thinking. Terrifying.
I just get bored. That's it for me.
I'm incapable of being bored.
Must be nice.
Or terrifying. Because the things that I am thinking about that make it so I'm not bored are, not great. But regardless, if you have fans going and the stimuli from playing Snap is enough to keep you engaged and make it so you're just not even thinking or whatever, I think that's fine. Like I typically have 2 or 3 things going on all the time in terms of like, if I'm playing Snap, it is muted because I probably have something on that I am listening to, but I'm also probably double queuing Snap with writing something in my notebook or sorting cards or whatever, right? And back in the day, I could focus on one thing because things would grab my attention that much. It just doesn't happen anymore. I need to be getting hit with like multiple things all at the same time.
See, I can't even do that because I will be worse at consuming the thing. Like if I'm browsing Twitter.
Oh, I am.
And you're okay with that?
More dopamine.
I can't. If I'm browsing Twitter and watching a TV show, and then the words are going through my head from Twitter, and then I look back at the TV show and I've missed 30 seconds, I'm like, what if those were the crucial 30 seconds? I gotta go back now. It's so inefficient. You just let that happen? You just you miss 30 seconds of a TV show and you're like, well, GG.
The reason I don't have things to watch is because I often have them playing on in the background and I don't remember a lot of them, Like if it seems like, oh, this is maybe going to be a pivotal moment or whatever, like, okay, yeah, it looks like some stuff's about to go down. But if it is like, kind of like a silent thing, like, oh, that person gave that person a look, which indicates XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm going to miss it. That's okay. I don't care. Because I don't even care enough to like really want to watch the show in the first place. I just need stimulation.
Speaking of blocking out our intrusive thoughts, I want to talk a little bit about Scream and how nice, absolutely required she is to go in the lane that the shield is in now. Like, it was already like a thing, but at 2-1, if she gets Red Guardianed, it's the most embarrassing use of your energy you have ever applied to anything. And so she just always has to be partnered by the Sam Wilson shield just to make sure that it's a 50-50 on the Red Guardian. Like, it is amazing how relevant Sam Wilson is in that deck. Because, like, honestly, that's a deck where, like, if Sam Wilson didn't exist, Red Guardian would be owning your shit. If Sam Wilson didn't exist, I think that deck might be bad. Actively bad. Because you have this Sam Wilson Craven thing. That gets way worse with no Sam. You have this Scream thing who gets Red Guardian 100% of the time if Sam is not there to protect her. I really do think that, like, that is a meaningful, maybe the deck where Sam is the biggest value add, despite Thanos being like an ongoing Mockingbird deck.
This is going to be one of those moments where Gerry shares his thought and people are like, does this guy even play this game? He sounds really dumb. You ready for this?
I can't wait.
You know the Scream decks that played Killmonger Uncle Ben?
Yeah.
I was playing the Hood in mine.
No, unfortunately, that doesn't make me think the thing that you said. That actually just like that might be the most Gerry sentence of all time, because we discussed this last time. You play the Hood in everything you've ever done. We talked about it in the context of Zabu.
Love the Hood.
There are two cards that are like 100% guaranteed to be in every deck that Gerry plays, good or bad. Zabu, the Hood. Every deck.
There's now a third card.
Oh, really?
Mind Stone. It's one of those three, though.
Sure. Is the Hood in your Thanos deck?
Listen, this is how far gone I am. I was playing with some of the different surfer lists that I've been seeing.
Yeah.
And I copied my opponent's Wiccan.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, that's the goddamn game. Lights out.
Okay.
Play that on turn 3. Nothing happens. Because I'm playing Surfer. But I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
What do you mean I didn't have a one? I even have a shield in play, dude. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That's I mean, like, you said the other thing was the thing that's going to make people ask, does he even play this game? That's the one that's going to get people to ask that. But I've done the same damn thing.
I said this is one of those moments. This is one
this is
of many that have already happened.
Yes.
Just preparing you.
Yes.
I may or may not say other head-ass things in this episode. Hard to say. But that is the one where I wanted to give you a little bit of forewarning.
Sure.
And I don't know, it comes up where it's like you only really have Killmonger to kill your hoods, and there's some games where you have the Hood, but you don't have the Killmonger, and you're like, well, I ran this out one of those times, got punished. There are some games where you're like, well, I played the Hood, and I don't have the Killmonger, and I'm going to be using my energy, so you run out the demon, and then you draw the Killmonger, you're like, well, that'd be really good to play, and you just Killmonger away your own demon, It's not...
Did you
it's
cut
not clean.
the Lady Deathstrike?
No, I was playing that too. That's
okay. That is like an insane cut to get the Hood in there, but you're not talking like it exists.
No, I just don't like that card. So I found myself just like not playing it a bunch. But
yeah,
I think that was like the justification. It was like, oh, I also have Lady Deathstrike, and then it was like, oh, I just end up not playing this a bunch of the time, and so yeah, the Hood is just rotting there. But regardless. In theory, you could use something like the Hood. You could find a way to just pigeonhole it in your deck. And now it does the job of protecting your Scream from Red Guardian.
Yeah, I've been pretty vociferous.
Big brain. Or you don't got Sam Wilson? Get a little Wasp in there.
Surgical.
My other favorite card.
The problem is the Wasp
Don't do that.
now.
Don't do that. Don't do
The
that.
hood is better at this job than the wasp because at least the hood is
Way
smaller. Like the wasp is still at 50-50. You want if you're gonna put a whole card in your deck for this, you got to make it a -3 power card. I
just want to turn a flush draw, man. I would honestly rather have the 50-50 than have it locked up. That's just how I am.
Oh God. Do you currently play the hood in any Thanos lists? I want to know the answer to that question.
In ones that I play regularly and also win with, no. But I have certainly like a thing when I just want to feel something, I'll try to do some sort of like Thanos, Killmonger, death nonsense. That shit is fun.
It is
like
so
it.
fun and so bad. It is like a crazy bad deck. Like it is.
Yeah.
It is like it is the FNM deck of Marvel Snap decks. Where it's like, that is the perfect deck to take to an FNM if there were such a thing in Marvel Snap.
Okay, so I played 2 Magic tournaments this weekend.
Uh-huh.
And this keeps happening to me where people are like maybe they know who I am or whatever, but either way, they're like, your deck is really
dog shit.
Interesting.
That's the nice word for dog shit, right? Like that's what I'm interpreting that as.
That's how I take it.
Sure.
And I'm sure they are trying to be even more polite than that. But yeah, man, I play cards I like, you know? Like, what you want from me? I'm trying to have fun with my card game. I'm sorry.
You should be. This is a terrible thing to try to do.
I didn't know that was legal.
I do think that like this is something that we agree on, I think, where if you are playing for fun, you're legally not allowed to get mad at your own choice to play for fun. Like, yeah,
agree.
Like, one of the things that comes up a lot in Marvel Snap is people be like, I'm just playing for fun. And what they mean is anyone who has a better deck than me is a piece of shit loser who tries too hard. And anyone who has a worse deck than me fucking sucks, and I am better than them empirically because I beat them in a card game.
Yeah, I am handicapping my win rate by playing the hood in my Scream deck or whatever. And then when I lose to the Scream mirror is because I got unlucky.
Yes.
You're a giant snack.
Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, you can't pick a lane, you know?
Right. The right lane. That's the lane I picked.
Got Lady Deathstroke. The cannonball.
Shit. Damn it. I knew I should have picked the other lane. Oh, God, I hate these 50-50s. This game needs more skill in it. I can't believe we had the 50-50 again. Unbelievable. I can't believe
it's not even a 50. It's not even a 50-50. It was actually like 80% that you were going to the other location. And they chose that one because they're a moron. And you lost because they're an idiot.
I simply did not. I was expecting a master stroke from you, but you, an idiot, played a dumb play and beat me with it, and it actually only proves that you're stupid. I did that yesterday. Someone snapped, and I ended up losing to them, and I was like, that was a really bad snap based on what actually happened in the game. But I'm the one who lost 4 cubes, so I'm the fucking idiot here, not them. Like, it's a bad play, but I'm still the dumb one. You know what I mean?
I played a game, and I genuinely want to know what was going on, where I snapped at some point in the mid game, and then got snapped on turn 6 and got 8 cubes, and it was not even close. It was like not even close to being I was like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, did you drop your phone and it accidentally snapped or something? Like, I was so curious, just genuinely curious.
I've run into so
like
many
this person needs
snappers.
to be studied.
Boomer snappers are the coolest people on earth. Where you just like
that's me.
Yeah, you're just like, I remembered this mechanic exists. Oh God, I should have been doing this way earlier.
It's like the Wiccan thing. Like, what do you mean I didn't have a 1-drop? I just hate the mechanic. I hate not playing without 1-drops, and so I'll be just playing my game. again, just trying to enjoy myself. Sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was illegal. And part of me enjoying myself is not interacting with the snap mechanic because it's stupid.
Just put Quicksilver in all your decks, man.
But then I'm like, oh, I guess technically I'm supposed to snap here because my opponent's super dead, and I boomer snap, and then they're just like,
bye,
boomer idiot. And I'm like, sorry, I'm having fun. Sorry.
Right. I'm sorry I'm having fun, and my fun is causing me to play with in a way that loses me equity. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Every time I make a bad play, it's because I'm having fun. But when I make a good play, it's because I'm better than you. Okay? If I make a bad play, I just wasn't taking it seriously. But when I make a good play, you're worse than me. Okay? Empirically proven. All my losses, not my fault. All your losses, evidence of your inferiority to me, the protagonist of this card game.
And life, really, if you think about it.
I mean, like, I didn't want to, like, overstate it. You know, I do believe that, but it's sort of
you just got me thinking about it.
Yeah.
You just got me thinking about it. And I was like, no, like this for KM, this actually extends into real life as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I am the protagonist of, like,
kind of hit
reality.
me.
It's important. Like, that people understand that about me. Like, I'm the protagonist of reality, and everyone else exists purely as NPCs with which I can't even say it correctly, with which I interact by pressing the X button occasionally.
Yeah. I mean, they exist to feed you cubes.
It does sort of raise the question of what console I'm playing on and why I'm playing on console instead of PC with an X button. But I guess it would be weird to, like, play. Why am I playing Life on an Xbox 360 from 2012? I don't know. Maybe because I really like Mountain Dew. Who gives you the right to question the 87 cans of Mountain Dew Code Red that I drank in order to get a skin on my gun in Call of Duty? Not you.
I think it is especially silly to question that when we've already established that you are the protagonist. Like,
right. Like, that's
if you have questions,
behavior.
If you have questions, keep watching.
Yeah.
It'll eventually all be revealed.
Protagonist behavior is eating a bunch of Del Taco and then yelling at anyone who has the temerity to think a game that they won against you was a good one. That is what protagonists of reality do, is be unhealthy and then raise their blood pressure to even more unhealthy levels by letting even the slightest hint of clout chasing drive them totally insane.
I intentionally drew with a friend of mine today.
Mm-hmm.
And after that happened, I stood up, I extended the hand, I said, BGs. Bad games.
You just felt like you needed to explain what that was. Like,
well, it's not common nomenclature, I think, right? Like,
there is 0% chance that anyone listening to this doesn't know what that means.
I don't think so. I think Snap is unique because it is getting people who are terminally online and also people who are like fans of comic books who might not necessarily be like lifelong gamers, like they didn't grow up in COD lobbies. They're not out there playing League of Legends, getting called every slur in the book. Both of those are just
saying they're not racist.
Yes, but also they may not have been exposed to someone saying BGs and understanding inherently what that means, right? Like GGs is, I think the first time someone said that to me, I was like, what the hell does that mean? The first time I saw it. And it's like, if you think about it, you could probably figure it out, but.
You play Marvel Snap, so you're not really like built for thinking about stuff. I get it. It makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. No,
I'm not trying to think, man. I'm just pooping.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yes. This is the
just
game that
fun
I play.
While I poop.
This is the game that I play when I have not had enough fiber. I don't know why people don't understand that.
Or when you're on the clock.
Yeah. I mean, ideally both, right? It's an American's God-given right to take shits on company time. That's like Yeah, that's what we do. Is there anything
I have someone who I would say is a top 10 friend of mine
Okay.
who, whenever he's sitting down anywhere, say at a desk or in a commentary booth, he will always take off his shoes. You know? So why can't you take off your pants?
I
Why
don't
can't
think
you just
that follows. I don't think one
I think it
follows from the
does.
other.
When you're the protagonist, I think it does, man. I did the math.
I didn't realize you were saying
And I
you
do the
as
math
in
so
me.
you, the protagonist, don't have to.
Yes, of course. I just feel like it
I
just
got
doesn't
you.
really follow, right? Like, it's like there are plenty of places where I don't have to wear shoes, but I do have to wear pants, you know? Like the beach or a pool.
I can think of a non-zero amount of places where you might have to wear shoes, but you're not required to wear pants.
A sex club? You don't want to touch the floor with your feet, right? Like that just seems fucking disgusting. But you don't have to wear pants.
See, that's smart. That is one that I did not think of. I was just thinking about, I don't know, walking over hot coals, walking over broken glass.
I feel
Kind of
like
require for you to wear shoes.
both of those are situations where pants are like technically optional, but you would still wear them.
It might be optimal, but it is still optional.
But in that sense, so are shoes.
What if
Shoes are
you're just having
optimal for
fun?
walking across those hot coals,
What if you're
but
just
not
having fun?
required?
Having fun. Live a little, KM.
But I feel like if I didn't wear pants and I was walking across broken glass, my incredibly pendulous genitals would be in danger of hitting the glass due to their comically large size.
You think it's your pants that's holding your balls up? Nah, man, it's your giant cup.
Every day I wake up and I duct tape them to my legs.
Right. Yeah, you're
that
wearing duct tape.
Pants.
Not pants.
That's
not
as pants.
Duct tape is not pants.
It can be and is used as such. It counts.
All right, I did just think of this. You are the protagonist, therefore you're right. My bad. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Anything else you want to get out about the OTA with the protagonist of reality itself?
Oh. Yo.
Yes.
Small change, weird change. Rhino's tight.
Yeah. That's just like a cool card. It's not great, but it's cool.
Not a great card, but cool. I'm way happier that thing exists than 3/3 kill a location, you know?
One of the things that comes up a lot with good players, and I don't think it's like necessarily a conscious bias, but it's more just like an unconscious, I wish I could play this card, and they don't really investigate why they wish they could play this card, is like something like, can they make Rhino a 3/5? Can they buff Rhino so I can put a card with that ability in the deck so I can mitigate location variance? And I think one of the reasons that comes up a lot with good players is because they really want to be able to play around everything. The inherent desire of a good player is to have all the answers to every possible situation, to never feel powerless, right? It's the blue-white control mentality of I get to feel like I'm in every game. I'm always in it, right? And anyone who takes me out of it, they're the ones who are doing something wrong. In Marvel Snap, a lot of the RNG is located on these locations. That means there need to be locations that super high roll screw you, and they have to exist because that's how a card game works. But for a good player, those are the things that cause losses, and that variance is a negative for them. So anything they can put in their deck at a good rate to mitigate it is a positive thing, which is in sum an argument for why a card like Rhino can never be allowed to be good as long as that's what its text is.
What if you made it a 3/5, but it only blew up a location when you moved it to that location, and it also had the ability to move it once per game?
Nocturne is
Would that card be playable? Would that be good?
Nocturne is so cool because she went to 3/4 right as they've made a bunch of good 3s, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, 3/4 makes the card unplayable, because we see Rocket and Groot still plenty playable, right? 3/2, getting its little +1s off, definitely a playable card. But when the nerf happened to Nocturne, it was the same month they released, I want to say, Casanova and Copycat. And
Yeah.
so it's like immediately they're like, oh shit. Like that is like, not only does this card get worse, the competition gets stronger. Rocket and Groot itself comes out like 4 months later. I think Nocturne is a fine enough card to put in your deck if that's something you care about. My point is that you shouldn't get it for free. You shouldn't get the on-rate body and the ability to mitigate location variance. If you want it, you should have to go out of your way to get it, because otherwise, all it does is make the skill curve more slanted in the favor of the better player. Like, if you imagine, if we're going to do like an imaginary chart here, which is not a great thing to do in an audio medium, but imagine a chart with the x-axis and the y-axis being how good each player is, and then the intersection of them being how often that player wins versus a player of the other skill level, right? And so you would have this graph that looks, well, like here is 100, here is 0. It'd be a weird looking graph, actually. Now that I'm visualizing it, I'm not sure it would actually work, because it'd be odd, right?
You need
Probably
another layer, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I think it would have to be another layer. There would have to be a z-axis, which is like
Yeah.
where the win rate is actually represented. But you understand what I'm getting at conceptually here, which is that curve has to allow for worse players to beat better players X amount of the time. And the
In
better
theory.
a card like Rhino is, the more a better player is going to win, because they are able to mitigate the variance.
Yeah, to have agency over location variance, I think that you should have to pay a cost to it. Like, maybe start the game with a 5/12 in your hand.
Ah, right. Yep. That is definitely the kind of thing that that's a real cost that is definitely being paid by a lot of people right now. Yeah.
Hey, to have agency, it does come with a cost. That is just the price you have to pay. I guess is sometimes you play
Yeah.
Mind Stone, and it only draws you cantripping stones, and then you play
Then you
those, and
don't
then you
have
like
the
don't get a
agency.
draw step because your hand's full because you have this 5/12 in your hand. You're like, man, I'm gonna win, but like I have to skip a draw step, and that's kind of annoying. Like you got to pay a cost. Taxman comes for everyone.
Something I've been thinking about a lot recently is how quick Marvel Snap players are to say they're sick of something. Like,
So they do this routinely, and as I pointed out earlier, it is very rare for a deck to stay number one. Like, things are constantly churning, right? Go back. You want a fun experiment? Go back and look at KM's, top decks, deck list threads, or whatever, and see how similar they all look over the last 3 months or whatever.
I would imagine that, like, if you looked at the last 3 months, they're more similar than in most other 3 months periods, and they're still going to look pretty different.
I agree. And
And
it's
yeah,
still just like you're getting like a pretty varied experience a lot of the time. And it's like, oh, I had the same kind of experience for 3 days in a row. Kill me now,
that is what it's like. Like, it's Sunday evening or Saturday evening, and the OTA was Thursday, and it's like, when are they going to nerf Thanos? It's like, what are we doing here? Like, it feels like there's no consideration given to whether a metagame is good or fun or enjoyable, and 100% of consideration is given to, is this different? And not in like a slight way, because players don't perceive that. It's just like, is this drastically different? Because if it's not drastically different, I'm going to complain that I see this thing all the time. And
Yeah.
it has almost no correlation to how good the thing is. It's entirely a play rate thing.
It is. It is more so my opponent 2 games in a row played a stone on turn 1, and I'm over it. Versus,
I see that.
like,
Yeah.
brother, you won both those games. And they're like, I don't care. It sucked. To be honest, there is something there. Like, in terms of like, if they're not enjoying themselves despite winning, well, that is maybe something that needs to be examined, right?
I think that Marvel Snap is smarter than a lot of other card games in that they do explicitly balance on play rate. So they have cultivated a player base that does expect this stuff. And so when you get like I know they recently hired actually a friend of yours, Michael Majors, who you used to do a whole ass podcast with.
I did.
When you get people who were like coming from other card games, right? They come from other card games and they look at a metagame and they're like, this is awesome. And if we like over screw with this, what we're going to do is make it less awesome. We're going to make this less bad. Whereas I think like previous design regimes, and I don't want to say this is like a Glenn thing because I think it goes back to before Glenn was there, right? Where they were just like kind of throwing designs that Ben Brode shoved in a folder somewhere into the live game and just being like, that'll probably do it. Like when they like release Zabu or whatever. But now they have like these steady, competent, professional metagame managers running this thing. And when someone who is good at their job looks at a metagame and there's no anything bad happening, I would imagine the logical conclusion is we shouldn't be drastic with this for the sake of novelty.
Right. And you know how many times Hearthstone has had, some sort of like OTA window, whatever they call their things. I forget. And it's just like, no, like everything's good. Same thing with Magic. And obviously there's a higher opportunity cost to making a change like that in Magic because it's a physical card game. You'd have to like ban cards versus just changing the text on them slightly or whatever.
Dude.
Has Marvel Snap ever had an OTA where they're just like, no, we're good?
No, they never have, but I just remembered something insane. Lorcana did an errata on one of their cards.
Okay. Michael Majors, love him.
Sure.
Love him to death.
Yes.
Has tried to get me to play Lorcana.
Okay.
And the thing that I almost always bring up is like, yo, is that the game that did the thing with the card? So please.
I can't believe they did that. I cannot understand how you end up coming to that conclusion being the right thing to do. I guess I can understand it, right? You're like, we don't want to ban the card because whatever reason we have for not wanting to ban the card, ergo, every other solution is better than choosing to ban the card.
So, yeah, for context, rather than ban a card, again, physical card game, right?
Yep.
It's pretty difficult to just be like, oh, the card has like this cost and like this power or whatever, and it has its text box, but just whenever you play with it, just pretend it's something different. Pretend it's like this other shit that we just made up.
Yes. They were like,
that's really weird.
This card that says what it does on the physical card no longer does that in any competitive Lorcana environment.
And so Magic has done this. Like there are some cards like Impulse, for example. This one was a mistake. It just simply says, shuffle your library at the end of it when you should not be shuffling. And people now play with Impulse where they don't shuffle. Impulse gets reprinted. It doesn't say shuffle on it. Everyone just knows. Then they look at the old one. Enough time has passed. Haha, it's funny that this happened or whatever. That's a small change, a minor change, a change where it's like someone goes to shuffle and you're like, oh, wait, no, I know the card says shuffle, but don't, it's, you don't have to completely change how you're casting the card. Like you try and cast it for 2 and they're like, bro, that costs 4. Are you stupid? Did you not read the rules update 18 months ago or whatever? That's what Lorcana did. They changed the cost. They changed the tech box. They changed. It's unrecognizable.
It's an insane thing to try to do in a physical card game. I really don't have another way of putting it. Like, it is...
Ban the card.
Yes.
Ban the card.
Yes, because, there's not even really like a because. That's sort of just self-evident. Cards should do what they say they do. That's just a baseline thing. And, like, when you look at, like, Magic stuff with, like, errata for typing and things like that, that I don't like either. But Magic has an extremely rich culture that, like, you are not expected to know this stuff, but there are going to be people who can guide you through the culture. Someone at your LGS will be able to explain this to you, and it will feel like it is part of something. Whereas Lorcana, as far as I'm aware, had never done this before. They were just like, this is our first balance update, and just did it. It was crazy.
And I believe it was just this card too, right? It's just like,
Yes.
this is the first time you do it, and you just mangled this thing. You
Right,
just went so far beyond what you should be doing.
It just
Bad
feels
precedent.
crazy to me. There's this thing that happens a lot where if you zoom out language-wise enough, you can make a lot of things sound like they're the same, even though they're not. And if you zoom out and talk about the semantics of like impulse versus this, it's technically the same action, but then you zoom in again and you're like, these are nothing alike.
Yeah, no, they technically both errata a card, right?
Mm-hmm. That's all it was.
It's like, and what happened? Impulse is look at the top 4, put one in your hand, put the rest on the bottom, then shuffle. That was the original printing. And it was just like, oh yeah, we just oopsied, we just like our brain autopiloted. And we just normally do that with a card. But that one's silly. It's just like you're taking an extra action for no reason. Like, why put them on the bottom and then shuffle? Why not just like look at 4, pick one, then shuffle? Like none of it makes sense, right? And if what happens is you do end up shuffling, what changed? The 3 bottom cards in your deck are now somewhere randomly displaced in your life. Who cares?
Whereas this is like, I think it was like taking a 2-1 to 3-2 or something like that, and like changing the text box or something to that effect. Where it's
it was like you discard your hand, like, and that's what the deck did. It was just like on turn 3 or something, your opponent has no hand, and now it does something that is not that, like not close to that, I believe.
It's crazy. It's a genuinely crazy decision to make. I am continually shocked every time it pops back into my mind that happened and that the game is still successful. Because to me, those two would be
IP,
mutually exclusive.
Ideally. So Majors is like, kind of half jokingly, we're going to be at this event, want to jam some Disney squares. And I'm like, oh, that game that they just massacred that card. And I'm expected to remember what it does. And he's like, that's my counterpoint. His counterpoint is, I played in one event. It was really easy. They gave me a $14,000 Mickey Mouse card.
Yeah, I keep hearing that about like just like you'll hear about a Magic player who goes to play Lorcana and they're just like immediately top 8ing. Like Frank Karsten just like shows up and wins the world's most expensive Mickey Mouse card, just showing up and playing whatever.
Frank, Hall of Famer, kind of one of the GOATs. Like,
Sure.
he is very, very good. Majors not officially recognized as like Hall of Fame or whatever, but also very, very good. And
Platinum
you would
Pro.
think like, oh yeah, I think Pay the Pros was a result of like Majors' situation specifically.
Yeah, him and Jared Betcher, 2 Platinum Pros.
Again, it's like Impulse versus the Lorcana card.
I was just like, I thought about the concept.
Like, these are the same thing. 2 Platinum Pros, just a couple of guys.
I thought of it though. I was like, I used Platinum Pro, and the only other Platinum Pro we've like explicitly discussed as such was Betcher. So there you go.
That's fair. That's
the only other one. My audience's only exposure to the idea of what a Platinum Pro means or is Jared Betcher. So there you go.
I don't know if this helps or hurts, but at one point I was a Platinum Pro.
I kind of figured they would assume that.
Well, it's another data point,
Sure.
I don't know if that muddies the waters, and
so
you already have
it's you and Majors and Betcher, and I'm just supposed to like play 3-card Monty.
You can. I don't know. I feel like in my mind, Majors and I are kind of similar.
Okay.
Betcher is a cheater and also smelled really bad all the time. And not gonna lie, I definitely had one instance where I sat down for a player meeting, guy next to me, This is like, hey man, it's like tapping me on the shoulder, tap, tap, tap. And I'm like, oh God, a fan. I can't deal with this right now. It's early in the morning. And I turn and I'm just like, what's up, man? And he's like, you smell awful. That did happen one time. But only one time over the course of 25 years.
I'm trying to think of a pun, like those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, with like the smell, but it's not really coming to me. So just like I want the audience to think on that and contemplate what it is I'm trying to say with that context.
I would like to say that I was hungover, but I wasn't. I was still drunk from the night before.
See, that was gonna be my guess, where it's like it like the way you play acted, the like, oh God, what's up? Like it was like, all right, he's been out drinking, right? Like that was my guess. That was my baseline assumption there. Like if you show up to a player meeting smelling bad and acting like that, I've got some guesses.
Yeah, I think we definitely tried to go back at 5. By we, I mean Josh Cho, my best friend, my keeper, my guardian, the only person in the world who cares about me, including me. Like
I like that little like laugh at the end of that, because you were like, I'm not sure if I should make that a joke or not. And then
oh no, it's definitely a joke. It's definitely a joke. But
you stopped and then committed to it as a joke. And it was like I saw the brief.
I was trying to decide like how to deliver it exactly. But at like 5 a.m., he was like, dude, we should go back. And I'm like, I'm having fun. And he just left. And then I eventually stumbled back at like 7. We wake up at like 8:30, or Josh wakes up, showers, and then he's just like trying to wake me up for like an hour until it's like 5 minutes before the player meeting.
The glamorous life of a platinum pro.
I was not platinum at this point. Did it
exist at the time?
I mean, if it wasn't platinum, it was like level 6 or level 8. It was like something equivalent. It just didn't have that nomenclature, I guess. But I could not have carried on like that and been platinum. That would have been a travesty. I had to get my shit together.
Notable data point, I suppose. So
took a while.
The 2 methods of getting to be a platinum pro are Savage Cheater or Alcoholics Anonymous. So there you go. Those are the things that work. Those are the proven methods of achieving Magic the Gathering status.
As long as you have like your fucking 2-year chip or something, you know?
Yeah. It'll just like that. That's basically a Pro Tour invite, right? That'll just get you in, you know? And if you've never had a substance abuse problem, A, probably not a very cool person. B, you cannot qualify for Platinum Pro status.
Well, that is literally true because they took it away along with everything else. And also, there are no $14,000 Mickey the Mouse cards.
Really? I thought Frank got like a $50,000 one.
No, I'm saying in Magic.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying it wasn't actually that much, and I was like, I thought it was actually more. Like, I thought they were giving away.
I don't know.
I thought they were giving away even more expensive promos. Why does Magic
I didn't
do
know. That? So they started giving out promos for the new Grand Prix, GP, not GP, the Spotlight series, and homie of mine, top 32 or whatever it takes to get like the foil promo, and I was there with him when he sold it for like $650. Like, they're doing something in that vein now. Finally, after 25 years, after so many other games have already done it and it has proven successful, like to subsidize prize pools with stuff like this versus like, oh wow, it sucks to just give away money all the time. Yeah, don't print cardboard.
It's a secret the US government learned long ago, which is if people are invested in your product as a reserve, as a store of value, and you have the ability to print that product, you should probably do that. If you have a money printer.
Yeah, literally. Like, it is so valuable that the president of Konami was doing it himself. Oh, do you not know about this?
I do not know about this.
Oh, this guy was just printing off like the Black Lotuses of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then selling them. He was like the president of the company.
That's awesome. That's why you become the president of something. I mean, like, shit,
Yeah,
look at our
big
president.
brain. Big brain.
Our president's running a cryptocurrency scam. We don't even have the guy printing off Blue Eyes White Black Lotus or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. This did not immediately come to mind, but they have been doing this with Pro Tours for a while also.
Mm.
In terms of like you top whatever, you get like a foil Ren and 6. That's, I don't know. They're like $5,000 now, I think, is the last one I saw. But
Oh, wow. I mean, that is good. Like, I mean, like,
it's good.
Yeah. It just sort of boggles the mind that, like, these companies have access to, and, like, I can't really overstate this, right? Magic cards, as stupid as it may seem, are a store of value. As stupid as it may seem to say that, they are objectively an unregulated security. And you have the ability to make them. And you're like, you know what's really too expensive? Funding the Pro Tour. It would be really cool if we could make some money appear from nowhere, but I guess we just can't. So
yeah, it would be really nice if someone could just print some, I don't know, like maybe polluted deltas or whatever. But no, we need to keep polluted delta at $50. Now they're $10, and whatever.
It is obscene that this card costs $400.
Yeah, it should cost $300
instead.
Yeah.
It is obscene.
Classic P Sully tweet.
That one's actually Cedric. Yeah. Pretty sure. You're giving me an eye.
No.
It's not?
No, it's not.
Damn
It's
it.
P Sully.
I remember I rewatched the P Sully rant about that exact thing because it got linked on like Reddit or whatever recently. And he mentions that tweet in there, and I think he says it's a Cedric tweet.
I am fairly confident. However,
probably right.
However, I will say, despite Cedric being one of my top friends, we'll say.
You won't give a number on that?
Let's call it top 10.
Is he in your MySpace top 8?
Let's call it top 10.
Oh, well, that really narrows it down.
Let's not ask me to stack rank everyone, okay?
Sure.
Because my top 10, it's flush. You know, it'd be like 50 people somehow. But
yeah, no, that
it would not surprise me, despite Cedric being in my MySpace top 8, that if there was a banger tweet that went out, that I might attribute it to P. Sully instead of Cedric.
Wow.
It could happen. It's non-zero. It's non-zero.
He is very good on Twitter. I've told you this before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the show.
Cedric or P. Sully?
P. Sully.
Yeah. No, P. Sully is great in every medium. Cedric just tweets about sports, and I frequently have him muted.
I find the one incredibly endearing thing that Patrick Sullivan does on Twitter is there's like some former Magic player guy who like works for the Democratic Party or whatever. And like basically every
Zach Hill.
Yes, basically every 2 weeks, Patrick Sullivan will be in his mentions just yelling about Palestine. And like just repeatedly just sort of beating this guy over the head rhetorically over and over and over and over and over. And it's like you'd think that there might be a limit to the ability of one man to continually devote himself to ruining another man on the internet. But there is not, and I admire that.
I'm not going to speak on that.
Interesting.
I'll tell you after the cast. I don't want to repeat things publicly that P. Sully has told me that may or may not have been in confidence. I don't really know. I don't think he cares, but like I just don't want to.
No, it makes sense. This is a show.
You just said a thing about the situation that was very funny to me, and I want to share it with you.
Sure. Which is a great way for us to segue into a very, clearly well thought out and definitely not impromptu or in such a way that makes the audience feel bad for not being included, right? I think typically the number one thing I want to see from podcasts is people talking about how they talked to someone else, but then not talking about it on the show. Or, and this is my actual favorite, someone saying, we talked about this before the podcast. That one's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
That one's an all-timer. We talked about this before the podcast. But I do
I think we talked about this before the podcast, and then you continue to talk about it. Like, you then explain it. I think that's okay. I agree with you, though. Like,
that's not okay.
I'll tell you. Why not?
Because
you don't like them doing like prep?
No. You could just not say we talked about it before the podcast. Because it's a totally useless addition to the conversation to say we talked about this before the podcast. It is something you would say in a non entertainment medium. But if you are live, there's no point to saying it. Your audience gains nothing from that.
I say this as a podcaster and as a person who has done that maybe every 6 episodes or so.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason it happens is I recognize fully that like saying that makes it standalone an objectively worse piece of content. But the reason for doing it, at least for me personally, is that I am conveying to my podcast partner that I am speaking to the thing that we talked about. Like I am referencing it specifically so that they understand what the hell I'm talking about, which means like we can talk about it and they understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's like I played Ongoing Thanos. I can tell you that, and I understand that you will understand what I mean. But if I bring up like this concept, they may not immediately link it to the thing that we talked about beforehand. So that is how I spell it out to them to make sure that we're on the same page. That's it.
I will say that I do this all the time, and it's because I don't approach these podcasts as anything other than just me talking to you. The fact that there are people watching is like one of the number one things people say about this podcast is it feels like two friends are just talking and we are listening in, right? And
yeah,
that vibe definitely gets put forward when we say stuff like we talked about this before the podcast.
So the thing that I wanted to talk about when we were talking about like me, Majors, and Betcher and like what the difference is.
Yeah, one of them is better than the other, and it's Jared Betcher.
By a lot. Yeah. Now you just KO'd me. I now don't know where I was going to go with that.
Let's go.
There was a thing that I was thinking about for so long, and you wiped me.
It's just like a flashbang of like me taking the exact correct direction. Like you just
being like, you're like Jared Betcher but smellier or worse at cheating or what? I'm just
Jared Betcher but worse at Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. You know, honestly, like your cheating skills are about on par with him. And your stench is roughly on par with him, but damn,
his technical abilities are just so much
like
higher.
That's where he's got a slight edge on you. And now I am deceased.
Like a flashbang went off in front of your eyes. You're just like hearing the sound that they put in every movie where it goes like.
We have talked about this, I think, when we talked about Jared and on the podcast on a previous episode. I bring it up like that for people who are listening to it and be like, I don't know what he's talking about. Well, I'm talking about a thing that we referenced on an earlier episode. If you want to listen to that, go listen to it. Where the reason why folks started to suspect Jared of cheating, of being a cheater, is because he was so bad. And because you would ask him a very simple question and he would give you an answer that was so deranged And not in a way like, maybe this guy's brilliant or whatever. It's like, this would be the worst guy at my FNM. Like, he would just get annihilated by, like, the Jerry Betcher at my FNM that doesn't cheat. Like, the smelly guy that's really bad at Magic.
Man, shout out to smelly guys that are really bad at Magic. You are all my brothers, and I represent you. You're my.
I will say, you know what's been kind of nice about going to these LGSs and playing these RCQs is I've gotten to see kind of like the updated state of, like, the local Magic the Gathering scene in all these different stores throughout, Virginia and whatnot. And it's not really been an issue in terms of, like, people's hygiene all that much.
Yeah, because
like, people are annoying or whatever, but
everyone with a hygiene issue just stays at home now. It's bullshit. I'm doing Stolen Valor. I showered right before this podcast. I don't deserve to claim being smelly, Like, I don't deserve to claim to be smelly or frankly even bad at Magic, but I will regardless. I will.
Yeah, it's fine.
Those are my people. I am you. I am lucky only that I shave my beard up to here, because otherwise I would be in the damn trenches.
You got a neck, or is it just fur? What's going on over there?
I've been watching a lot of Taskmaster, and the first 10 seasons, the Alex Horn, the assistant / creator of the game, his beard goes down to here. And every time I see just what are you attempting to accomplish here? What is it you were
it's just,
going
nested
for?
In between collarbones?
Yeah, it's not like it's oh, my beard is long and it goes down to here. It's like his beard is shorter than mine, it just goes down to here. For no
he's
reason.
Immaculately groomed. It's short, right?
Yes.
But, yeah.
It's like, why have you decided to wake up and look like a caveman? Why is that a thing you've opted into? I don't understand it.
I shaved this part. Not this part. Not this chinny part. I just don't really. But yeah, this neck part, I shaved that.
Yep.
I don't know.
I would be all the way down here, fully neck bearded if I didn't take care of myself. And I think the fact that I do is indicative of how stolen this Valor is.
Yeah.
You
are not the Taskmaster.
Yeah, I'm not built that way. Do you want to talk about
what the hell are we
Marvel
talking
Snap?
about? Yeah. When are they going to nerf? When are they going to nerf Carter? Carter broken. Why'd they buff it? Cards OP. Obviously, it would have been good in Surfer. Are you stupid? Oh, you made it cost 3 and didn't realize it would go into a Surfer deck?
Do you got any more? You wanna get a couple more?
Oh, I got so many more.
Fire. You take the floor. Go. You got any more insulting voices you want to do? You want to insult our audience some more, Jerry?
Are they the ones complaining?
Probably.
Why? I mean, if you bought it and you're like, oh, this is a lemon. Okay, I get that. That sucks. But then the outcome is the card gets buffed and now you're complaining because you're losing to it. What would your suggested change be?
Yeah.
Both to the audience and to you.
Well, to me, I think that Captain Carter right now is great. Honestly, I thought this was a risk that they took. Maybe it was going to be broken. I thought there was a real chance 3-2 Carter was going to be too strong and we'd be looking down the barrel of another season pass card. Oh God, they did it again. But 3-2 Carter is awesome and balanced and cool. And I'm actually really surprised to see that and to have it be a legitimate, oh, this is actually legitimately balanced. Because I think between Carter and Goliath and all of that stuff, this month has given me a real sense of just how strong the anti-ongoing cards in this game are.
Oh, yeah. The funniest thing to me, though, was they make this Carter change.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I saw was they're so stupid. It is cracked with Moonstone. Like, why didn't they think about that? And it's literally like, not very often is it where it happens where it's like, we're making a change to this card. We're specifically worried about this interaction with this one card. They literally did that this time. They called out Moonstone.
I gotta tell you, I didn't think about Moonstone. I didn't think about it at all. I looked at Moonstone. The first time I saw Captain Carter Moonstone, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing to do. I didn't think it would be broken.
Must be this tall to ride this location.
Right.
We got 50.
Like, I get it, but it's also just like, there's this inherent commitment that Moonstone is making, which is the world's most vulnerable thing to interaction, right? Because
it's not you have to be this tall. It's like you have to be roughly 4'6", roughly green colored, roughly know some like magic.
Mm-hmm. Maybe say your own name when you enter the battlefield, that kind of thing, you know?
Like Pikachu? What are you talking about?
Enchantress, I believe her VFX is her going, Enchantress.
It has been a hot minute since I've had the sound effects on.
But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm like pretty sure she's like a Pokemon.
Pikachu. That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe she's like, maybe I do have bad ears. So maybe she's like saying something like enchant this or whatever. But I'm pretty sure she's definitely not saying enchant D's. That I know.
Enchant D's what, Cam?
Enchant D's nuts. Let's go. Owned.
Oh,
God damn.
You got me.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Magic the Gathering card Witch Enchanter?
No.
Is literally a card. What do you think it does?
How is witch spelled?
Witch.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like an uncard where it was like trying to make a joke, like witch enchanter.
You're close. Modern Horizons 3.
Right, that's basically an unset. Okay, it's gonna be like 1 BB, and it's 3/4 that Ravenous Chupacabra, but also modal deal 2 to yourself, draw 2. I just tried to come up with a Modern Horizons card in black there, basically.
Yeah, I mean, give it +1/+1, maybe Menace, and
sure, right. I forgot to give it the combat ability. My bad. Yeah.
No, it's a DFC. The backside is a land that taps for white, enters tapped unless you pay 3 life. The front side is a 4-mana 2/2, enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchanter. Artifact or enchantment. Sorry.
Okay, so my Ravenous Chupacabra, not far off.
The joke is Witch Enchanter. Disenchanter.
Oh, I hate that. Oh, I hate that so much. Oh my god. Is it wrong that I have a specific designer in my head for who made that?
Shoot.
Carmen?
It is public knowledge.
Is it? Are you checking to see if it's public knowledge?
No, it is definitely public knowledge.
Okay.
I had a person in mind. It is not Carmen. Let me check.
That was my immediate thought.
I don't know how I could even find this out.
Who is responsible for this joke?
I thought it was Jadine, but it could have been.
You know what?
Like,
actually, I feel like if we're zoomed in on one specific household, that is like that. We're close enough, right? Like that seems about right. Because like the reason I ended up thinking that it was probably Carmen was I remember a tweet referencing the like witch diss kind of thing. But now that you mention it, it might have been in reference to JD. So there you go.
Or like quote tweeting or something. Yeah.
Yes. I don't actually know. Because these are all people who I am aware of, but I do not know. For you, these are people you know. So I would imagine you have a better idea.
Yeah, I mean, I generally have a pretty good memory for these things, but also there are some instances where I'm just, like the Peace Ollie Cedric thing. It's like I
Yeah.
know that it's possible that I would just give Peace Ollie props instead of Cedric. I don't think I have that same sort of condition in regards to, like Jadine versus someone like Carmen or anything. But maybe it's
What if
possible.
you do? Yeah.
Could just be
But like,
stupid.
I think it depends on if you think the joke is good or not. Do you think the joke is good or not?
I don't like comedies. I don't know. Most of the things that people find funny, I don't find funny. I understand the joke. I get that. Like, you could ask me if people would find that funny. I would say yes. People in general would find that funny.
But
I do not.
I kind of do. I enjoy a bad joke. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy a joke where it's just like the intent is to get a groan.
No jokes in my fantasy children's card game, please and thanks.
I mean, no jokes in your Final Fantasy children's card game. No jokes in your off-brand Marvel digital children's card game. I've been seeing some speculation that the most recent announcement by Magic the Gathering that they are unable to bring their Spider-Man cards to the digital client is related to Marvel Snap. To the best of my ability, to the best of my knowledge, it is not related to Marvel Snap. My guess, with no actual knowledge, is it's related to if you want to put their stuff in a digital client, you probably gotta pay more. And so they just didn't want to spring for that.
So, yeah, you could make the argument of, oh, well, if you want to play digital card game with the Marvel IP, well, we already have one of those. It's called Marvel Snap.
Sure.
More likely, certainly, is what you said. It was like, no, pay, like, you backed up a truckload of money to our offices, bring like 2 more of those round,
Yeah. Like,
but it could also, it's not even necessarily Snap. I'm surprised that no one mentioned this, but it could just be like Marvel Rivals as well.
I think the reason it didn't get mentioned is because people just like card game, Marvel, it must be related to card game rights. And what it almost certainly is actually related to is just digital rights are not the same as physical rights. And they paid for the physical rights, and digital rights are a completely different thing.
Right. And it might be even that digital rights are way cheaper, right? It's not even necessarily like on a one-to-one basis or anything. And maybe the ask to get in the door was very, very high, but was like, we're willing to pay that. And yes, we only get, half of what we want or 3/4 of what we want, depending on how they slice it. But either way, for Marvel to be like, well, yeah, these are different things. Like, this does not really affect us if you make a Spider-Man card. Like, it's not like it's cutting into them at all. If anything, it is helping them. But if you start doing that stuff in the digital space where they do have a rather large footprint, yeah, that does cut into them. And that should be separate because it is affecting them very much in a different way than like a physical card game is.
Yeah.
I think it's digital, period, not just like card games. Because card games is such a tiny niche.
That's the specific distinction I was trying to draw. Like, people jump to Snap as the thing because it's another card game, but that's not actually it. It's that it's an online game and they need to license the Marvel IP for an online game, which is a very expensive thing to do for an online game.
Yeah, don't put Marvel card game into your App Store search bar and be like, oh, this is the thing that came up.
Yeah.
Go to Steam and type in Marvel, see what comes up, because that is what Arena is against,
Yeah. And I guess I should ask you, what do you think of Through the Omen Paths? Is that a thing? Okay, yeah. This is an
fart noise. Here's the thing. If they have decided that doing this Universes Beyond stuff is a thing that is going to be beneficial and lucrative to them, they think that it grows.
Definitely is.
I'm just saying, if they have decided that, which, given that they have moved forward with it and have done that and have continued to do it and are now saying like, oh, it's standard legal as opposed to just like modern legal, whatever. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that they have decided that it is worth it for them, especially when you are getting like premium IPs, frankly. You know, Lord of the Rings, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, I think are all up there. Things like Fallout, Warhammer 40K, Avatar: The Last Airbender, like those are pretty heavy too, but like a step down, right? And I think that there's going to be there's a mix of those things that are willing to license out their stuff. And Wizards is like, yeah, hell yeah, this is now they have data too to look at to be like we were speculating, but now this has to point that we are right, because if it pointed to no, you're wrong, this is not serving the goals that you thought it would, they would probably stop doing it, you know? So if the purpose of this is to get more people into Magic because, hey, now there is a Cloud Strife on a Magic card, or there is a Spider-Man Magic card, or whatever. Why are you doing it in such a way where it's like kind of half-assed? You know? Like if you look at like how do people get into Magic? It's with, you know, through a friend most often, or like you're already kind of like in the space. You're playing like Yu-Gi-Oh or One Piece or whatever. You're at the LGS. You see people playing this other game. You kind of get introduced that way. The other thing is maybe you're at home. Maybe you don't have friends. Maybe you don't leave your house. Maybe you live in a remote location and you're poking around online and you're like, oh, this looks cool. I'll download this. You get hooked through MTG Arena. Or I don't know how this could possibly happen, but Magic the Gathering Online. Maybe that happens too. And now, I feel like there's a lot of crossover there, where it's like, I'm into like digital stuff, and it would be tight as hell if, you know, if Magic had Spider-Man on their online client, I would play. I would start playing Magic. But because I have to like, now I have to accumulate like a physical Magic the Gathering collection and like go to the store every week and like meet people, or like, that is a taller ask than just download this thing and play our tutorial and draft some Spider-Man boosties, you know?
Is
It's
that
just weird to me.
Is that not actually a more like, think about it this way. It's a boon to LGSs. Because now there's an LGS or physical exclusive experience of the Spider-Man boosties.
That is I feel like I could certainly be wrong on this, but I feel like if you are a person who is wholesale going to engage in the thing, it is inevitably going to lead to live play, right? But if that is where you start, but you're not even like, hell yeah, I'm going to re-download Magic Arena and play the Spider-Man set or whatever, right? Like, yeah, it's not you, because the ask of you going into a physical space and getting a physical collection and all that is a massive ask. But you could get them into Arena. It's free to play. And then they play it. They're like, God, this is fun. Right? What's your next step? How do you increase the dosage? How do you level up your drug intake or whatever? It's, I don't know, leaving your house, going to FNM, going to the pre-release, whatever. So I don't know. It seems weird for those things to not mix, I guess. But like, you could also look at it like, well, either they come in through Arena or they come in through Universes Beyond, and it doesn't really matter if they're separate or not. But like, I feel like once you get the people into Arena and you're drafting with Jace the Butt Sculptor or whatever,
really
and then
witty.
In real life,
that was amazing, man. You just really gave up on that before it even left your mouth.
I did, yeah. And then you go in real life and it's like a Dr. Octopus card, and you're just like, what the shit is this? Oh, this has the same text as this other thing. Is really confusing and stupid. And like, I like Jace the Butt Sculptor. That was my boy. I got the Jace the Butt Sculptor emote or whatever in Avatar. And now I can't get that in real life. I have to play with Dr. Octopus. Like, what the hell? Isn't
that just like
too much
overwhelmingly more likely to happen in reverse, though? Like, if you accept the premise that these are things that are bringing people in, they'll be there to play with Dr. Octopus, and then they'll go online and they'll be like, that's Jace the Butt Sculptor. Which, by the way, I like how you thought about, like, not saying it the second time. And you were like, nah, I gotta do it now. And then by the third time, you were fully committed and there was no hesitation whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, again, like, if I'm going to reference the thing that I just said, I have to say the head ass thing that I said.
You gotta double up. You gotta double down and then triple down. And by the time you tripled down, you were committed fully.
Well, it's especially bad because, like, for you to omen within whatever the shit the thing is called, you have to make Dr. Octopus into whatever the shit, the butt sculptor set, whatever it's called. You got to turn Dr. Octopus into a magic card, right?
Yeah.
And to do that, you would have to make a new character. So I was trying to think of a new character name, and I would just change part of a card name.
Yes.
No, you knew that I was ripping on that, but Jace is still the same character. You can't make. Anyway, they probably could.
I feel like
they can
Jace
make Spider-Man
wouldn't be Dr. Octopus. Like, if you're gonna do Dr. Octopus, it's like very obviously Tezzeret.
Sure, but who is like a crappy Jace in Marvel? Like, that's again, like that is the path that I was on, right? Was
crappy Jace in Marvel is Peter Parker. I'm right.
Do you hate Peter Parker? Like, damn.
No, I think Jace is actually cool. It's been like
loser.
It's been so long. People hate Jace, okay? They hate Jace because of the card Jace the Mind Sculptor, and because all of his flavor texts make him look like a dickhead. But if you actually read the story, Jace Vraska, very cool. Jace's relationship with Gideon, very cool. He is probably the most relatable to a standard nerd character that the Magic community has. He is a very insecure and overcompensating smart nerd who constantly finds himself in over his head and has to try to overcompensate his way out of it, while simultaneously dealing with the feelings of his own inadequacy compared to the paragon of manliness that is Gideon and the paragon of womanliness that is his sort of love interest Liliana, and whether or not he feels like he deserves that or not. The single most relatable to any Magic player character, but nobody knows that because they only read the flavor texts.
I have a question and a counterpoint. Question is, would you say that Gideon is decidedly manly?
I would say that Gideon canonically decidedly male.
Decidedly male, yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
Okay. Counterpoint. The Jace Vraska stuff, I agree, is where it picked up. However, thing that you failed to mention is that happened 10 years after his character was created.
Yes.
So it's not Jace the Mind Sculptor, it's 10 years of him being a shithead.
Yes, no, but it recontextualizes that shitheadery in the sense of who amongst us has not been a shithead because they were insecure.
Off it, man. Okay, so my homie tells me that The Wheel of Time is his favorite book series of all time.
Shout out to your homie.
Josh Utter Layton, aka Raptor.
Shout out.
I start reading them. I'm in book 3. I'm like, yo, when did these get good? He was like, book 8.
I was going to tell you 11. It takes a while before things start happening.
I am off it. I am so off it. And that's the Jace thing to me. It's like, okay, it made up for it. It took 10 years, dog. I was off it like year 4, you know? And like, it doesn't matter if like suddenly you steer the ship, you write the ship. It's like, oh, season 10. You got to stick around till season. I'm not doing that. And I'm going to hate it just for the fact that you say, I got to wait till book 8 or season 10 or whatever.
See, I guess the thing with me is I didn't really stick around. So I came back into like Magic Story right around when Jace was getting good. And it was like, oh, sure, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a well-written character. That's really good. This is good work. Like, what I remember incredibly drastically is reading the Ixalan story and then the Dominaria story. And the Ixalan story is this, like, fairly rich character tapestry of Jace finally coming to terms with who he is. And learning that, like, you know, this is a guy that would, like, illusion magic six-pack abs onto himself, right? Like, dealing with who he is and becoming a better person through hardship and romance, right? And then you go to the Dominaria story, which is entirely composed of MacGuffins and stuff we're supposed to remember. And the plot is there's a bad guy who is a demon who is collecting all the MacGuffins, and he's got the sword, the magic sword, and it's like, in every episode we go to a different place and we do the thing there to get the MacGuffin, and then we go fight the bad guy. It's so crazy, like the gap between those two in terms of just structure and focus, and to me it felt like quality, but I don't want to disparage the writing or anything like that. But I remember feeling that, like, that vast, so I was, like, really excited reading through Ixalan, like, wow, this is really good. Magic Story got really good. And then we go to Dominaria, and it's like, dude, I'm back in Scourge. I'm back reading Scourge. I am right back in it, dude.
Highest highs, lowest lows.
It was really incredible. Like, I was
decidedly male.
Struck by the whiplash, man. Just absolutely struck by the whiplash. All right, I've got a proposal for you. This is where we're getting married. This is I've
been waiting for you to ask. I'm so happy.
This is where we end the podcast, but we record 30 minutes of actually talking about Marvel Snap. We record 30 minutes of actually talking about Marvel Snap that I can then put earlier in the podcast. How do you feel about this plan?
Tight.
Okay, farewell, my friends. We will see you in the next one. No door slamming here. We're going to go record 30 minutes of Marvel Snap Talk that hopefully you already listened to.